Jayanta Bhatto, a Kashmiri logician, he wrote Nyaya Manjari in the 9th century AD. These are in 12 Annikas. In the first Annika, he discusses general definition of Pramana. And he gives a concept which is altogether different from the prevailing concept of Pramana. What is that concept of Pramana that he gives? He says, Bodha Bodha Swabhava Samagri Pramanam. Bodha Abodha Swabhava Samagri. Bodha mane knowledge. Abodha other than knowledge. And Samagri is collection. Bodha Bodha Swabhava Samagri Pramanam. If let us say a perceptual cognition is to be produced, let us say, is phala, result. For that, what is the pramana? What is the cause? Then it starts, Atma Manasa Sangyujyate. The mind gets connected with the self, gets connected with the mind. Manaha Indriyena. The mind gets connected with the sense organ. Indriyam Arthena. The sense organ gets connected with the object, which I am saying this is Artha. And then Tataha Pratyaksham. But that Pratyaksha also has got a process. First, Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, where you cannot identify what it is. Narada is coming from above. Kramadayam Narada Ittabodhisa. Slowly he identifies. First he says, Tusham Chaya. This is how he is identifying. But connection is there, but clarity is not there. Clarity in the Nyaya term, what is the meaning of clarity? Dharma dharmi bhava. Some dharma and dharmi. Bhavapanna jnana doesn't arise. So I do not know whether Narada or not. A beam of light, Narada is not there. And then slowly when he comes down, oh, Narada. Kramadayam Narada. So this is the process. So Indriya Artha Sannikarsha, what emerges is a perception, but that perception is not verbalizable in the structure of Dharma Dharmi Bhava. And so then after that, Narada Ityabodhisaha. Then he says, Narada. Then after that, so Nirvikalpaka Jnana, up to that, Jayanta says that starting from Atma up to Nirvikalpaka Jnana, the whole collection is Bodha, Abodha, Swabhava. Now, this is not Bodha, but when I know it, the knowledge is Bodha, but the content is not Bodha. This becomes Vishaya of the Bodha. But Vishaya is not Bodha. So he says the Pramana is a collection of factors which consists of Bodha and Abodha. Bodha, Abodha. In other words, he says that one item should not be called Pramana, but rather it is a collection of factors. That should be, because only then the result emerges. And then there is a great, if this itself can be a topic for 10 days. But I'm just giving you an idea. Now immediately the opponent stands up and he says that then you are going against Panini. Panini, Pramana, what is Pramana? Pramiyate anena ite Pramana. Anena is Karana Karaka. Karana Karaka is not in the collection, but it is one member of the collection. Chakshusha Pasyami, Lekhanya Likhami. So one item has been identified as Karana Karaka, and you are telling Pramana is Samagri. Samagri is collection. Collection is only one. So many problems. So you will need 7 days to discuss all this. So I just want to point out that how intellectual and rewarding exercise will be. Now you are editing Nyaya Manjari. Discussion involves knowledge of grammar. This is your Kriya, and then Karta, karma, karana, etc. Sampradana, apadana, adhikarana. These are karakas. So only one is karana, no? These are the factors. Out of the factors, one is identified as karana. And so Tritiya Vibhakti is added where? In karana. Chakshusha pashyami, dhumena anuvinomi, shabdena janami. Not the collection. Samagriya pashyami. Will you understand that I am looking? So objections were all raised like that. Goes on, discusses. And ultimately he refutes all the objections and proves that bodha svabhava samagri pramanam. This is what is done. Then another section of logicians got up and presented another theory. And that is what? Apare punah achakshate. Others have this view. Samagri nama samuditani karakani. Samagri, when you say it's a collection of karakas, then how is it possible that it has two forms? His earlier discussion is that he is telling that samagri itself is karana. That does not destroy the function of individual karakas. That means it has two aspects. So he says, Tesham dvairupyam ahridayangamam. I cannot follow, what are you talking? The same thing has two. Athacha tani eva prithak avasthatani karmadi bhavam bhajante. Athacha tani eva samuditani karni bhavanti. What is this nonsense? The same becomes karana and same becomes samagri. How is it possible? Koyam nayaha. What kind of theory is this? Tasmat, and this is the line you remember. Therefore, this is the second proposal. Kartri karma vyatiriktam. He says, okay, Jayanta Bhatta, can you tell me any example? Aham maya pashyami. He said, Kartri karma vyatiriktam. Abhyabhicharadi visheshanaka artha pramajanakam. Yathartha jnana, yatharthya. Karakam karanam uchyate. Tadeva tritiya vyavasya deepena pashyami. Chakshusha nirikshe, lingena buddhe, shabdena janami, manasa nischinomi. Then in that case, then there are only three karakas. He is telling that karta and karma will never get tritiya. Other karakas may take tritiya. Sthalya pachati. Sthali is adhikarana karaka. But still you can use tritiya vibhakti. But karta does not take tritiya, karma does not take tritiya. So, then karta, karma and the rest. Nanu, trini eva karakani asmin pakshe bhavayuhu. Only three will remain. He said, rightly have understood. Jnana kriyayam tavat evam eva. We are in the context of producing knowledge. Pratyaksha jnana, anumiti, shabdabodha, upamiti. These are the result, no, phala, result going to emerge. And what is the pramana for all this that we are discussing? So in the context of jnana, what you have understood is perfectly correct. Paka kriyasu, but when it is a case of producing rice, etc., cooking, ashrayadi, ashrayana, adhashrayana. Up to that, you know. So they different in terms of different these are avachedaka. By different functions, we can distinguish their functions. And so they will maintain their individual character. So there is no problem. अधिकरणाधिकारकांतर व्यवहारः प्रमितौ तु, so far the knowledge is concerned, मनो दीप चक्षुरादेः न लक्ष्यते विशेषः इति तत् सर्वं करणत्वेन सम्मतम्. So karta, karma and karana. Fine. This will explain the idea of pramana. Samagri is pramana, but you have to exclude karta and karma. Now you can understand that if I go on telling you all this, I think even tomorrow I will not be able to go home tomorrow. So this is the starting point. And then finally he concludes, tasmat, a very big discussion. Conclusion is this: kartri karma vilakshana samshaya viparya rahita arthavabodha vidhayini bodha bodha swabhava samagri pramanam iti tu yuktam. Now, the commentator, how honest the commentator is and how rational the commentator is, that I wanted to present to you. He says that this interpretation now, that starting with a general proposition and concluding with some exceptions, if I take literally, then it will disturb a principle called matching of beginning and the conclusion. Now, commentator is a Granthi Bhangakara, Chakradhara. He writes that the principle is called Upakrama Upasamhara in Mimamsa principle. That if you are started describing, let us say, mango tree, and you are concluding with guava, so then there is a call that it's called Upakrama Upasamhara Bhanga. So अन्यथा ही उपक्रमे कर्तुकर्म व्यतिरिक्तस्य कारकमात्रस्य उदाहरण प्रदर्शनेन प्रमाणत्वं प्रतिज्ञाय उपसंहारे सामग्र्याः तत्प्रतिपादने न उपक्रम उपसंहारयोर विरोधस्य. So the samagri shabda now in this sentence has to be interpreted differently, not as a collection but samagra. So samagri shabdaha samagra pradhano drashtavyaha. Now you see, now unless you are familiar with this, you will also try to correct it. So you cannot do it. So editing is very highly intellectual work, and the tradition is so much aware. Honesty, I told you, they are so honest. Now he writes down this. He says, Etaccha, this interpretation commentator is telling, I am giving you because I have a manuscript of that type before me. Keep on searching manuscript, and if you have a better manuscript, then I read out for you. Etaccha yathopalabdha pathanusarena vyakhyatam. He is not telling this is the final. I am interpreting it as per the manuscript available before me. Don't give up your attempt. Don't take it for granted that my interpretation is correct. Spashta gaminika prayam chet pathantaram kochid bhavet. If you discover in somebody's possession, in somebody's house, some manuscript which is spashtam, to match this conclusion, tat saiva gamanika astu. Don't depend on my interpretation, you take that. Honesty. You see? Because the truth, truth has to be presented. Truth has to be presented. Vada, neither Vitanda nor Jalpa. No? So Vada, Tattva Babhutsu Katha. And then he gives a guidance to the reader. Commentator, he says, Evam anyatrapi patha nishchaye drashtavyam. Take it a model and follow this model in deciding the correct reading of a text. Is it intellectually valid, intellectually inspiring or not, you tell me? This is one example. I am just shortcutting. Another is very beautiful. Another is that there is Atma, how to establish Atma. Is not seen, no color, no this thing, nothing. How will you prove Atma is there? Buddhists say there is no Atma. This man says there is no Atma. Someone says this is this much. You say Sarvabhyapi, all this. Okay, other things we will decide later. Let us first decide that there is Atma. How will you do? So a big discourse on inference. And then the whole thing comes, the discussion. This is just, he says, Dik Pradarshana Matra Matra. Ichha, let us say. Do you have it? Will you deny there is Ichha? Who has Ichha? Where is it situated? Is it not a matter of inquiry? Ichha, Dvesha, Prayatna, Dharma, Adharma, all this list. What could be the locus of all this? And this is not, no proof is required. Everybody's experience. No observation under a lens. For the scientist will say, I have to observe and under a lens. So observe what is Ichha. You are reporting. I have a desire of this food. I want to eat this food. So, Ichha, Dvesha, Prayatna, Sukha Dukkha, Matinam, Lingata Kathanam, Atmani Tattat, Tu Asti Hetu, Hetu Nibaho, Bahuvanya. I may not be able to show the color of Atman, but I can take you by inference to that which you cannot deny. I ask you, what is the locus of desire? What is the locus of happiness? You say, I am very happy today. Where is this happiness situated? What is the locus? Is it there or not? You cannot say, because you are telling, I am happy. So you are accepting there is happiness. I am asking, where is it in me? Where? Is it in the body? Is it in the sense? Where? So ultimately I will take you by inference. All this by inference I will take you that. So he gives a list of criteria. Then he uses that, okay, if this is not very palatable to you, I will give you some metaphors to understand what Atma is and what Atma can understand. He says, Atma is like a Sarathi, is a charioteer. Now, charioteer, whenever he wants to move, he moves. He doesn't want to go, he lives. So, is charioteer the body? You want to move whenever you want to. So, there is someone who wants to move. Free will. He has. He exercises that. Who is that? Who is the initiator of this activity? This is one. So I give you one metaphor, just like a Sarathi of the chariot. Atma is just like a chariot. In the Upanishad you have so many descriptions of this type. Then you are breathing. Oh yes, I am breathing. What are you doing? Do you always allow the air to go down? You also change the motion of the air. So sometimes down, sometimes up. But it is a desired direction, no? It is not automatically like a wind happening. It is getting channeled by someone as, okay, কি বলে যে লোহার যে ই করে, so he is directing the air to come to a particular direction. So without the blacksmith, is it not this is not happening, you know? So the instrument is not that doing automatically. So there is someone who is goading that air to go through a particular direction. Same is we all are doing. We are not allowing, according to our will, we are channelizing the air to pass through this and that. We are breathing. So another metaphor is of blacksmith. Now my hut, let us say, I am living in a hut. In those days we will live in a hut. So in a hut, it got damaged. Repair is required. Is the repairer the hut itself or other than the hut? Other than the hut. So grihapati, another metaphor. I had tasted a particular food, I remembered it and my mouth started watering. Or I saw something, I remembered and my tongue started watering. Two different indriyas, he says, is something like that. You are in a room having different windows. The same person is sometimes looking through this window. Same person is looking from another window. So another metaphor is given. Like that he goes on doing that. Now the passage where I want to focus is this, that metaphor of repairer, grihapati. This is the edition of Mysore edition of Nyayamanjari. Is a best edition of the best edition available. But I want to tell you, no edition is final. Idam cha dehaditaratra durlabham. This is the final reading of the Nyayamanjari. Niriksha vidrikshat bhagna rohanam. Now a cut is there in the tree. It gets held up. As there is a cut in the body, it gets held up. The metaphor now is giving is that as the hut, as the house damaged, gets repaired by the grihapati. So there is a grihapati who is repairing all these things. He is the Atman. So he says, idam chadehad itaratra durlabham niriksha vridhikshata bhagna rohanam. Or a branch is broken, again starts sprouting. Dhruvam, now this is the line, please see. Dhruvam grihasyeva gatih prakalpate. This is the accepted reading by the editor, Bharadacharya. And I will show this is wrong. And I will give you the proof. Dhruvam grihasyeva gatih prakalpate nijashraya kshema parayano yana naraha. A man who wants to have a good house in a good condition must get repaired when it is damaged. So he says that having seen that there is a dilapidated hut, damaged hut, having seen as he gets repaired, so grahasyeva gatih prakanasi. I will write it. এখন আমি বলছি, কেন বলছি এটা রং? তার কারণ হলো যে জয়ন্ত ভট্ট প্রশস্তপাদ ভাষ্যের যেটা বলা আছে তার সামারি করছেন উনি এখানে তৈরি। আর প্রশস্ত ভাষ্যে কি আছে সেটা তোমাকে শোনাচ্ছি এখন, শোনো। নিমেষ উন্মেষ কর্মণা নিয়তেন দারুযন্ত্রেণ প্রযুক্তেবা। অনেক মেটাফোর্স আছে, যেমন পুতুল নাচ, মানে আমাদের চোখ বন্ধ করছি খুলছি, বন্ধ করছি খুলছি, তো যেরকম পুতুল নাচ উপরে কেউ ওই সুতো দিয়ে ধরে দেখাচ্ছে, খুলছে বন্ধ করছে, তো সেরকম সে তো আলাদা, সে তো পুতুল নয়, কেউ করছে, তো সেরকম শরীর তো সমস্ত করতে পারে না, কেউ করছে, যে করছে সে হচ্ছে আত্মা। তারপরে হচ্ছে দেহস্য বৃদ্ধি kshata, growth also is happening in the tree, so also here, not happening automatically. Bhagna, there is a break, wound. Sangrohanadi is taking place. Nimittatva, grihapatiriva, metaphor is of as the owner of the house when the house is damaged, gets repaired, so there is a person called Atman who is repairing all these things. If there is some cut in the body, etc. So, dehasya vriddhikshata bhanga kshata bhagna sangrohanadi nimittatvad grihapati riva. So, grihapati riva grihasyeva. You see? Grahasyeva is it. You can follow? He is summarizing. Prasadapada is earlier. Prasadapada is earlier. Nyayamanjarikara Jayanta Bhatta is later. He is summarizing the whole step by step. Exactly the same thing. All the arguments, all the metaphors in the order, in the same order he is summarizing in his Nyayamanjari. In this case, he has gone wrong. Dhruvam, instead of grihasyeva gatihi, now এখানে গ্রহ করলো গতি করতে হবে। সো কোনো কনস্টেলেশনের দোষে হ্যাঁ এটা হচ্ছে, সেটা না করে গৃহস্য পতিহি প্রকল্পতে করতে হবে। Now you can, so you are with me now? This I could have, this I could do because I could read Prasastapada Bhashya. So, is it not an intellectual exercise? Can editing be possible by copying from this page to that page? This much knowledge is required to arrive at the text which should be the original text of the author. So the aim of manuscriptology is to discover that page, and to do that you need a lot of knowledge of various things. History, you should have knowledge of history of that period. You should have knowledge of chronology. So many things are required. You must be a very good scholar to take up this activity. And I am so happy that the department has taken up this initiative, this very intellectual activity. And I wish that you continue this activity and all young minds jump on it, learn it thoroughly, and try to edit and publish unpublished manuscripts. Hundreds and hundreds of manuscripts are not published, not seen out the light of the day. আমি জানি এখানে আয়ুর্বেদের হাজার হাজার ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট রয়েছে যেটা প্রকাশিত হয়নি। সেগুলো প্রকাশিত করার কাজ তোমরা করবে এবং তার জন্য তোমাদের তৈরি হতে হবে, এবং কীভাবে তৈরি হতে হবে তার একটা নমুনা তোমার সামনে আমি রাখলাম। I have been working in the area of Nyaya Shastra. I came to read Nyayamanjari, and then I said immediately, how is it that Graha is coming here? Why? And because Graha he has selected, he has to make it Gati, Graha Gati. So this is to be rectified, corrected. It should be Grihasya Patihi Prakalpate. So thank you all. Now প্রথমে এটা পড়বে তোমরা, এই অংশটা মাইসোর এডিশন 1969 পেজ 37-38 ওটা পড়ো। রেফারেন্সটা টুকে নিতে পারো, এখন বই থেকে পড়বে এবং এরা তোমাকে জেরক্স করে তোমাকে দিয়ে দেবে। তারপর এটা দেখাও। হ্যাঁ, এই দেখো, এটা তোমাদের এখান থেকে কয়েকটা লাইন পড়ে তোমাদের শোনালাম। অপরে পুনঃ আচক্ষতে, অ্যানাদার থিওরি, অপরে পুনঃ আচক্ষতে। এখন প্রথমেই ওটা প্রমাণিত হয়ে গেছে বোধা স্বভাব সামগ্রী প্রমাণ। সেখানে যদি আবার ওটাই রিপিট হচ্ছে এখানে, তাহলে এটা আলাদা থিওরি হতে পারে না। অতএব এখান থেকে আমাদের দেখতে হবে অপরে পুনঃ আচক্ষতে, ওখানে ওদের আরম্ভটা কীভাবে করেছে। কর্তৃকর্ম বিলক্ষণা বোধা স্বভাবা সাময়িক প্রমাণ, এইটাই হচ্ছে এখন প্রারম্ভ, এবং তার শেষটাও তাহলে ম্যাচ করতে হবে। অতএব শেষের লাইনটা দেখো, সামগ্রী প্রমাণম। অতএব এখানে যে সামগ্রী কথাটা, ওর অর্থটা কী করতে হবে, ওটার ডিসকাশন হয়েছে এখানে। অ্যান্ড দ্যাট হি ইজ টেলিং দ্যাট আই এম ডুইং ইট as per the manuscript available to me. So keep on searching a manuscript which will give you a better picture. Otherwise, upakrama, upasamhara will not match, will not do, there will be dosha. Next one. Grahasya eva gati prakalpate. What are we? Grahasya eva pati prakalpate. So thank you all once again.